AWS Solution Architect Engineer. That means to become Solution Architect Engineer, how many services you should know? At least 12 services. Out of what?
Unable to view your screen.
Out of 200 plus. I hope you are able to hear me now.
Yeah, but unable to view your screen.
I'm so okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you. So now you are able to see that the subject today is basically what? After the having a basic cloud foundation, networking kind of subject and basics, and then you have got what Linux hands-on. Then you're going to move to where our major subject is AWS Solution Architect. Now you have to be very good into practical and understanding and active in a class. Take a pen, paper, and write down more points. I'll give you scenarios why we need to have this kind of thing. So out of 200 services to become solution engineer, you should have 12 services, right? So as I said, the domain, the AWS Solution Architect Engineer should do what? Network plus servers, then storage plus automation plus security. That means a solution architect engineer should know these 5 domains. So we need to go with servers, network, storage, and network automation security also. We should have this knowledge also. So now let's see what are job roles we are going to have this after completion of this AWS Solution Architect Engineer. You can work as a cloud engineer, or you can say what? Associate, or you can say your support level job, or you can act as a what? Consultant. So you have various kind of jobs available in the market on a cloud engineer. You have a cloud analyst, you need kind of cloud engineer, associate, and support, and you have a consultant, right? So you have various roles, so you can apply for this. Now to do this kind of services of Amazon, as you know that you need, if you want to do services of Amazon, if you want to access the services of Amazon, AWS services, access and manage. If you want to do this, so what do you require? AWS account you required. So Amazon has given what? 12 months free account. 12 months free account for you. So now what exactly Amazon is giving that? You can have a free account, and I hope a lot of people's like here this you have created your account, AWS account. Am I right? Eben and Seven, you have that account, right? I have so.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now we got this point, and what I want to do is right now I'll go for understanding. After creating account, you need to understand that interface AWS home, a console home. That means AWS can be managed, management interface. So you have what? CLI or console. So what do you mean by CLI? You see here, I'm just logging to my account. So when I say aws.amazon.com and I type in my username password, so on the right side you can see there's going to be a region, and this is your my account here, and this is your support, help, and you have a notification from Amazon, and you have a CLI, Cloud Shell. So these are the things on the right side you'll find top, and the left you'll find a kind of services menu, or you can search. You can search easily whatever the services you want to work, right? On the left side you can see that console home, my application or something here. And the right side you can see that you have a small icon called AI assistant. Amazon introduced Amazon Q under preview. Hello, I'm Amazon Q, your AWS generative AI artificial assistance here. That means Amazon saying that you are facing any problem with any services, you want some help from that particular services, you just type here, the Amazon queue get you all details of that. That means no need to go for a lot of help. Now assistants, AI assistants can help you very well according to your query. So now this is your AWS Home console GUI. If you want to work on a CLI, you just click here and you'll find what AWS Cloud Shell. So you can manage a command line also, or you can manage through console also. You have a two choice. The best practice in a real time is going to go for what? Shell. Performance, security, as I said already in a Linux also, shell is more preferable than GUI. But initially you are doing first time. So whenever, whatever you do, if you know about some graphical, then you can understand shell easily. Or else you'll get confused in commanding. So that's why we go forward console first, then we have to go for CLI command. It's very important. Interview they're asking about a CLI. So now we got an idea that there are two types of management interface, that is CLI or console. And the best practice is what? CLI. As per security compliances. Now we got something about idea. We got some options of right side. You have regions, you have a account, you have some support. You can contact to customer support, and left side you'll find services where you can catch up and you can start your service by typing in the service search box. Now, so it's very important whenever you want to start any project, you're onboarded and you have to create something. As I said, how you work in a company, what are the roles and responsibility. You are going to be cloud engineer, you will have a credential to the account of the company, and you create, we can use we can use and manage the services, and uh, we just give the facility to what? Our team. A Linux administrator or network engineer, database guy, testing, developers, QA, a lot of people are working surrounding. So we have to give the access, what are the facility they want, we can give. So this is our responsibility, core responsibility, as we have done earlier diagram. Now let's start how the services we are going to learn here in the AWS Cloud. IAM, we are going to go forward security service. We are going to start first talking about what? Security. In the Amazon, there's a lot of services: security, computing, networking, automation, right? So we want to go for security, that is called IAM, Identity Access Management. In the Identity Access Management, why? Why Amazon? What is the purpose of this service? Amazon says to have what? Authentication and authorization process. That means to do authentication and authorization management, you require what? IAM, Identity Access Management. So you can say that to give access to AWS account, AWS a single account, to multi-users, with a limited permission. So if you want to give access to your account to multiple users with a limited permission, you use what? IAM, Identity Access Management. Let's say example, in a diagrammatically we understand our job, role, what is the use of IAM, in which situation I'm going to use IAM service in my company as a cloud engineer. We'll see here. Now I'm doing what? Understand this point? I'm going for a kind of your diagram. So whenever you're going to be a cloud engineer, you have to understand all the work process with a diagram only. Then you can be a good cloud engineer. So let's understand here. You have a what? AWS account, and you are a cloud engineer. You are onboarded on the company here. You're going to be cloud engineer here. An account credential given to you, username, password, and everything. And you have a team. The project is about to start, and you have to do some planning. You have a lot of employees are working in a team, different categories. Few can be developers, few can be testing engineers, it can be security engineers, or it can be infra team, that is your Linux or Windows admins. And here you have some kind of what? AI or machine learning team. You have various people working on your project. So to do a completion, the company assigned this kind of team and this one project account. Every project will have different accounts. Or one project, if it is more complex, then company will want one or more accounts for one project. One project. Now here you can see can you connect online? Do you have a laptop? Connect online, huh? So everyone can see. But you have to sit there. Echo will come. Please. Now, what we have to do is share the link. You are the cloud engineer, and these people are working in your team. Your manager will give a task to you. A manager will give a task to you by email. That means what you have to do initially as onboarded. The first plan in a company, you will be introduced to the company project. A meeting will be conducted, and you will get an exposure of the project and how many people are working with this project, and what are roles and responsibility of each one. How do you communicate? What ticketing system you're going to use? So how do you report it? So these all things will be trained, or you will have a kind of understanding. Then the first task they'll give what? To create what? Create groups. The manager will say what? Create a group. So group and users. What do you mean by group? Group is an object where if you want to create multiple user, example, you have a developer users. How many department you have? Example, one developer, testing, security third, infrastructure, Windows and Linux 4 and 5th, and AI 6, and ML is going to be 7. That means you have a 7. So your manager says create 7 groups with the name of what? Dev, AI, machine learning, Linux admin, Windows admin, and then go for security. And they say what? Testing. That means the instruction is given that you have to create a group. Under that, they want to create what? Users. They says that developer will have developer having what? How many users? Example, 10 users working with us, or 20 developers are working with us. And it's going to be AI. AI people only working with 2. And you have machine learning, which are working 5 people here. And you have a Linux, there's going to be 2 people here working. So they'll give all the names of this person, then department also, right? So you got an idea. after having this idea, what you're going to do is, and they'll recommend you that assign MFA for all. Multi-factor authentication, it is best practice. What is multi-factor authentication? That means a dual factor of authentication. You type username password, and after username password it will not immediately gives you the access to the application. It will send you a OTP. If your OTP is received and you type the OTP, then it will access. That means two factor. One is username password. Second factor is what? Your these things. You have a mobile OTP or application receiving. So now we have this multi-factor authentication recommendation, and the manager says that give programmatic access. That means access method. Your manager says that, talking about access method now, he's saying that for developer please give what? Programmatic access. They want to work with a word CLI, and your Linux team, that means your machine learning or AI, they required what? Console access. And your testing team required what? Console access. So your manager says that who need console access, who need the programmatic access, and all should assign for all MFA, multi-factor authentication. All the users, how many users are there? 20 plus 2, 22, 27, 29. These are the users. So you have a security. Three users. So you have 32 users altogether. So I want that manager says that all the users should protected with multi-factor authentication, the best practice. So you understand groups, you understand users, you understand what is MFA, what is the access method, one is programmatic access, and one is what? Console access. So you are going to define, you're going to give access to these all users. Your mail says that please give access to your AWS account following users. So they'll mention that give access as specific permissions also. So they have given what? MFA, and they have given what? Guidelines on permissions. That means a group dev should have what? Cloud9, a kind of service. So that means they're giving a lot of kind of permission and all those things. So I got this. So what is user? Is an employee. So now you can see that it's a kind of what? Employee in your company. So how many employees in your company? You have to create that many users. And what is group? How many department you have? You have to create a group. Why the group is required? Given access. उनके पास है? Your email. Just so here. Now it's time to do what? I have to define, I have to give access to my team. Team is waiting for me. So I have to log in as my account. This account is called what? Root account. Root account will have a full privileges. That means in IAM, you'll find two, in AWS, you'll find two accounts. Whenever you have an AWS account, you have two types of account. That is root account, root user, and you have a IAM users. IAM user, standard user, as we seen into Linux also. The user which does not have a privileges, more privileges or full privileges, that user called what? That user called standard user. Here also we are calling as IAM users. This all my team is basically called what? They comes under IAM users. And root user is what? You have account and you have a full access. That is called root account. Now, what service out of 200 plus services, what service I'm going to use to create user group permissions, giving some accesses? What service I'm going to use? IAM service. So understand this. I'm going to use what? IAM services. So by using IAM services, you can create group, we can create users, we can set permissions, we can define MFA multi-factor authentication, we can say access method. All things can be done with the help of what? IAM services. Then these users can have a permission and they can access to your account. 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5. So this way you go. You got a point that your manager says what? The task. And on the base of task, you're going to use IAM services and you're going to create how many groups? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 groups. After that, you have to create a permission like users. Then you have to allocate some permission. A limited permission, least permission should be defined as a best practice. Don't give full permission. It's a good question on interview. How do you protect? How do you make a security? So don't give full permission to the users. Always give least permission, whatever they require. So these all users called what? IAM users. So single account can be accessed by multiple peoples with a limited access. So now let's do in a practical manner. I have to create 7 groups and users for specific things and I have to assign some permissions. So what should I do? I'll go to console, the first task, and your manager says that give access to team, to your account. And it should be multi-factor authentication. All should have MFA enabled. All users should have MFA enabled. It's a good practice. Multi-factor authentication. And they should have least permission, not full control. When I say IAM service and when I click it, I got a dashboard of the service. And it's recommending something, add MFA to root users. But I don't want to add MFA right now, but I'll go for group users and all those things step by step. Then you can see that. So now left side you find access management groups, user, roles, policies, identity providers, account setting. So first what we want, manager says group. So when I have to create a group, I'll say what? Developer group. I'm working with a what? I'm working with Netflix. Developer of Netflix. When I say that, it will say what? Do you want to add the users to this group? No, right now I have not created any users, so I'm just creating a group. Now I'm saying, do you want to attach permission? Remember, it's best policy or like here the practice to apply the permission on group rather than applying on users. If you apply the permission on user, it takes a lot of consumption of time. 20 users means 20 times you have to go and permission. But if you apply the permission on group, so it will be very effective and you can save a lot of time. So it's good to go for what? Permission on group. So yes, I want to give permission. Developers. So one service called Cloud9. I got Cloud9 administrator. For your showing or for your sake, I'm just giving what? Full permission. But in real time, you have to give least permission. You have to expand it and you have to give only whatever you require. A permission which is under the guidance of what? Your technical management. So Cloud9, these are developer users permissions and services, and they need S3 also, storage services. Sometimes they need what? Elastic Beanstalk, AWS Elastic Beanstalk administrator. So I have given how many permissions? For developers, I have given what permission? Cloud9 is an ID tool, S3 is a storage, and then Elastic Beanstalk. So I have given this permission to our developers. So whenever the developer log in, and they can have what? They can have that permission. So only just I have created a group. Now what I have to create? I have to users for all department the same way. First group, apply the permission, then go for users. So now users, they said that that's going to be what? They will give a kind of usernames. Dev1, and it's saying what? Do you want management console or programmatic access? There are two methods to give access to the user employees. They can do from a command line, or they can go for console. On the administrative task or requirement instruction I have to follow, they said that developers should have programmatic access and other users should have what? A kind of console access. So I should not go for console access right now because developer, user 1, I said next. It's saying that do you want to apply permissions directly? No. You want to copy permission from others? No. You want to add users to group in order to apply the permission indirectly? Yes. It's a good practice to apply the permission on a group and add the user to the group. Automatically the permission apply. So which this? If I add the user to this group, whatever the permission S3, Cloud9 and your Elastic Beanstalk will be given to this user. Done. So once you have created user, you can see that it will say when you have created what is the name, everything will be displayed here. And now if I want to do any changes on permission later, I can do permissions. If I want to add the users membership to multiple groups, so Amazon says that you can have what? Up to 10 groups. If one user can be member of what? 10 groups. Remember this point. In a security credentials, you can change MFA, you can add the MFA, you can enable console access, because right now you have given CLI, but later manager can say that please allow that enable access also, console access. You have to do that. MFA is required. So for MFA, multi-factor authentication, which increase the security of your AWS environment. So I'll say assign MFA. So it will say that to assign the MFA, you can assign to your mobile application. You can have this security key like this, and you have a hardware T2OP token. So these two devices mostly gives by the company. Because of security, you don't want to have typing, you don't want to receive SMS on your mobile. I want it should be access to the hardware. That's more security than your this mobile based application. But we are doing practice and we want to save money, and we are a startup company, we have 4 or 5 employees. Then I'll go for what? Authenticator app. It's not a device separate. You have to install this software into your mobile. So I need that you need to install. There are 3 methods, remember this point. MFA device to use in addition to your username password whenever you need to authenticate. So there are MFA devices. You have to enable it. So I'm going to go for authentication cap. Next, it's going to say device name. I'll say Android 200. You say, do you have security key or authenticator app? Yes, I'm using authenticator app. Which authenticator app you need to install? Please be ready with that. It's saying that authenticator apps. So which apps are there? When I click on this, it will show all the apps which is compatible to this. You can see that it's saying Android. You can have T-Value, Authenticator, Duo, Microsoft Authenticator, Google Authenticator, Semantic. Same thing, Google, Microsoft, same thing for iOS and Android. So now I want that you should install some software. I want you should install Google Authenticator. Can you install anyone, please? on your mobile. Have you done with the installation?
Yes, sir.
After installation, please open the software, scan this QR code. What you're doing, you're integrating your account with the device. When you scan it, hope you're done. Sibin, Ibin, and other people, like, please
Yes, sir.
install in your Google Authenticator and start. QR code. Have you got any code in your application?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
557. It is gone.
557.
It is gone, sir.
I'm sorry.
Five
You
72
seven
12
two 12
61.
61. Then again next word. It will generate one more code.
Yes.
It will refresh. No problem.
Nine zero 909050.
909050. So when I say add MFA, it says that yes, you're assigned. You can register up to how many? These are interview points. As I said, you can add 10. One user can be added to the what? Multiple groups. 10 groups is a main point. Please make a keynote. And how many devices you can attach MFA? Example, I said everyone to make a QR code. That means only 8 users can assign this MFA to their devices. Device example, you have a mobile 1, mobile 2, mobile 3. You want to use it, so you can define what one MFA can be attached to what multiple devices. Any combination of current support. So now done. So how do you test it? Cross checking is very important. On the console sign in, you're not having console access. MFA works with console access. You have to enable this console access first, and you have to say auto generate the password. Once the auto generate is password, it will give the credentials, URL, username, and the password. You download this. A Excel file will be downloaded, that is CSV file. Now, once you have this, if you want to test it, whether your MFA is working or not, so first you have to go to where? You have to go to what? Your console. I'm just passing that URL what I got from that particular after enabling the console, and it's ask you what? Username also, dev1, and a password also. So it's going to what? Dev1, and the password is what? I pasted. So you have to access. Now MFA, please. Have you received MFA, please? The device, once you attach, open the application and you can see that code, please. That means the first factor is username password. Once it's authenticated, authorized, then it's going to ask you what? Multi-factor authentication. The code will be sent to your mobile application. Can you say that, please?
Yes,
Have you
sir.
received?
831956.
831956.
56.
When I enable it, now I'm getting access. That means your multi-factor authentication is working. So you can apply in the same way to all users. I'm just giving a demonstration on one group, one user, multi-factor authentication added, and it's saying access denied. You cannot access other services. I said it's going to be what? S3. When I click on S3, it will give access because I have given permissions. But when I go for VPC, this service, it will say what? The user does not have permission to access this service. It will say error, or it will say some kind of problem. Like now, if I want to create a VPC, The user got what? S3 Cloud9, and I have given some Elastic Beanstalk. Now, what I want is, I want different services. I'll go for what? Machine learning. That means I want to have a image builder or machine learning application here. If I go for machine learning application, let's see whether I'm able to get access or not. It is giving what? It's going to say that if you want to create anything, it will say that you don't have permission. When I want to create and when I submit, it will say what? You don't have a permission. Training resource. So I'm just cross-checking because I have given only Cloud9 and S3 and Elastic Beanstalk. So it's saying that you need to use SageMaker. It's saying it's no longer used. So you have to go for SageMaker. So I want SageMaker. So when I go to SageMaker, after logging to my account, it's saying you don't have you have a denied, permission denied, because this user dev1 having only S3 or Cloud9. So you got cross-check and you got understanding that this is going to be working. So you can create all the users MFA, you can assign this way. And if you forget some permission, you can go to this permission tab and you can add more permissions. And in security condition, as I said, we have not given the console access initially, but I enable from here because to MFA. MFA works with console access only. And you can modify anytime. And if you want to change password, you can go to console access again. You say auto generate and you apply. Again, it will generate password. In any time, like in the future, employees raising a ticket that I forget a password, please reset. You go to the user property, manage console, and that thing is. Now I'm going to find aim. You got group, you got a users, and you have done user property. You got option what? Groups, permission, security credentials, advisor, lot of things. So first we need to understand permission, groups, security credentials. MFA you can define, console access you can define, reset password you can define, and you have an access key. That is for what? Accessing programmatic calls. That means if you want to access from a seat AWS CLI command line, so you can use what? Access key. But console need username password. But to access from a programmatic, you have to create access keys. Access keys are basically combination of two. That is your access key and secret key. Access key and secret key. Let's show me that. I'll show you here. A testing engineer want CLI access, and testing also required what? Console access. And your AI machine learning will have what? They said they want console access. And Linux administrator, Windows administrator need what? They want console access. So this way you have to define. So you need to have what? CL access to my developer users. They should not have a console access. They want to have what? A CL access, command line. So if I want to give, so they need to work from what? IDE. They are going to use IDE, PyCharm, if they are a Python developer. If they are kind of Visual Studio Code, if they are working on Java or any kind of programming language, so they can go for VSC, Visual Studio Code, and PyCharm. So through that they can connect it, because we are going to give some access key. If they want to go for CLI, command line interface, example, I'm using PowerShell. I want to connect my AWS account and I want to manage through PowerShell. So if I open it and you have typed what? AWS configure. When I type this, it will ask you the access key and secret key. So how to generate this access key and secret key? In a user property, you find access key. And you have to say, yes, I want to go for a command line use case. Then I understand the risk of this and I say what? Next. And I have to say developers, Python, get access. Now you have access key and secret key is generated here. You have to download CSV file. This file you have to pass out to your manager. Manager will give to the concerned department or concerned user. So you have access key. So once you type AWS configure and you just paste it here, then you go here and you go with this secret key, right click, enter, and it's saying which region you want to connect. US East 2. US East 2 basically what? You can see all this. US East 1 is a Virginia, not Virginia. US East 2 is in Ohio. California West 1. So there's a kind of names. So I want to connect to Ohio. So I'll just go for enter. And the output format, errors, whatever the command you type here, AWS command. So how to show your commands errors in a JSON format or text? So I want JSON. JSON, it can be clear idea, so I can easily understand my working problems. But as I said, AWS configure. How is accepting AWS configure? I don't have any tools. I did installation before this. That's why I have directly typed. But you have to do what? You have to download AWS CLI from an official website of Amazon. So when you go to the AWS CLI example, AWS CLI download. When I say download and when I go for this link, first link, and you'll find what? With Linux or Windows, or I am using Windows, so I'm going to go for Windows. It will say download, click on this and download, and you install it. So you can give this link address also on your chat box. So you can use this link for downloading. Once you download it, so you can find AWS CLI. Yes, I downloaded, that's why it's showing here. So you do not need to install. You have to just go to the command prompt, that is PowerShell, and you have to type AWS configure. Then it will contact to the AWS and it will ask access key and secret key and the region. Once you have that user access key and secret key, and you can give it. So you connect it now and you can type what? Your AWS commands, AWS S3 LS. That means I'm connecting to S3 service of Amazon and saying the list. So it's showing that you have a two kind of contains, that is, you can say buckets and Fahima, write something here. So you got something here, buckets onto this account. So later we'll see a lot of commands are there. You do not need to go for command line. You can type everything command onto the PowerShell. No need to go for what? Console. It's good to go for what? Always command line. But you have to have, I said, understand your GI first. If you're good, then you can easily go for your CLI. Any questions here? I have shown how to create group, how to add the permission on a group, and I have given some example permissions also, Cloud9, S3 or Elastic Beanstalk as a service like here to that particular developer who need to access these services. And I have created a user and added to the group. And after that, how to change the permission later, how to enable the console access, how to reset the password, how to attach MFA device to this account, and how to recheck, how to cross-check it, and how to make an access key and secret key for the user who want to access from a CLI. We have seen this. Is it clear now? You understand this point? The first duty in your company, in a project, before executing the project, you have to give access to all your team members. All this will be guided by your project manager. Project manager will guide you. There is no need to worry about this. Your project manager will say how many group, what are the names. Your project manager will give all the options. So this way you go very simple, but you have to understand how many group, how many users, what is the purpose of that, what is CLI, why should I give CLI, and what is permission, that is called policies, that means authorization. After login, what they can access, what they cannot access. So you can specify that permission only, that is called policies. What is MFA? It's a multi-layer like control, that means adding more security to your account so that hacker will not hack, because hacker can use a technique called what? Dictionary attack. They can go for dictionary attack or brute force attack, or they can go for what? Key logging. So it's very important that you have to have multi-factor authentication, or else your password, your account can be compromised by the hacker. So keeping a username password is a traditional way, so it is vulnerable. Don't keep only username password, is highly recommended. Nowadays every company, if you work for any company as in IT industry, any post, any job role, a basic role also, and you're working with remotely, definitely you'll have understand of MFA. Every company is doing practice on MFA. So the steps I'll forward you how to do that, but you need to understand what is users, what is group, all the definition also I'll give. Initially what you need to understand, what is IAM. IAM is a kind of service of Amazon which comes under security category, which basically to authenticate and authorization. Authorization is giving permission, what they can access, what they cannot access. Authentication is what? Username password, validating the username password, that is authentication. To give access to a single account to multi-user with limited permission, and making what? And making more secure by MFA attachment. So these are the things, like you can say in interview, and someone says, what is IAM? What is the purpose of that? Give example. Interview, if you give example, let's say that I have a kind of team and I have a project, and I want that my account should be accessed by the team members, but limited kind of permission, and I want extra security for them. How can I go with that? Because if you do not give multi-factor authentication, it's going to be vulnerable, and the hackers can use brute force or dictionary attacks, and they can hack or compromise the username password of your employee, and they can disturb your account. So that's very important practice. So I'm just showing that steps also. I'll give you some steps also here. Just a minute. This question answers also, everything will give. Just a minute. I'm just going with the IAM service here. So what I'll do is I'll forward you a kind of question answer voice notes. Understand this diagram, understand the scenario. It's very important in your job. How you get the task and how do you perform it? Why do you do that? What is the team and what do you give access? Because everyone have their own work. They need to have access to the AWS services. They can do that. They can perform it. And what is MFA? What is CLI? What is console? These all things are terminology to understand IAM. I'll give step-by-step notes and the definition. So you have to be ready with that. Tomorrow, before starting further, I'll ask some questions on IAM. You have to ready. Always be ready with that. Every class, whenever I deliver the class, in between you can raise your concern. And after that, whatever the notes I'll pass to understand to work on that, labs also. And tomorrow, I'll ask the questions on the previous topic, whatever I delivered. You have to use 30 seconds and everyone should respond one by one. Please be ready with that. Okay, that's way we can crack interviews, or else interview will get a lot of problem, because in interview a lot of people not able to talk but they are doing well, but interview needs talking. If you talk, you crack your interview easily. That's why we want to give small. Any question for me now? Is it audible? Like I'm audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Please, any questions?
No, sir.
No.
I got Abdul Mujib here, Ibn and Khaja Moiz, and then Sami, Abdin, and Risab, and Sevin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please, any questions for me?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Okay. So if you have some echo, there is no worries. What you can do is the mic and then speaker. Just give a gap and just use it. Right? There will not be a echo. Mic and speaker to be off. Then you can talk easily. One mic, one speaker can be on. So you understood now, but you need words, some kind of exact terminology definition. You need some diagram is very important here. Remember this point. Diagrams are very important. Examples are very important in interview. Whenever someone asks you about interview, that what is IAM? Tell me something about IAM. Always start with what? Start with example. Let me give examples, sir. Like here, in an organization, suppose I got a project. Like we got a project, and I'm onboarded as a cloud engineer, and we have a team of 10 peoples and 12 peoples, and I need to give access to my account as I'm a root user account. So I need to give access to that my team, whatever the permission is instructed by my project manager. So I'll use IAM and I'll provide all the facility, users, group, permissions, right? Customized permission, limited. Then I'll give some kind of MFA to have more security. And sometime I need to give CLI access. Sometime I need to give console, depending on demands on the employee. On the base of that, I'll go. This way you can say. So I'm concluding session. I'll pass the notes on your WhatsApp. Please be ready by tomorrow. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye and see you.